Today's guest on JRL Golf Academy from the backyard is none other than Director of Instructions at the Palms Country Club in La Quinta, California, Chris Walkey. Chris Walkey has worked with a ton of PGA pros, both LPGA and PGA over the years. He's a wealth of knowledge. In this segment, you're going to see a bunch of drills to work on different parts of the golf swing. Chris is he's the inventor of the Power Package. This is an awesome training that I use every day at the JRL Golf Academy. Helps with wrist set and also playing angles. And he's also just come out with this great new putting package. I'm one of the few that has it currently. They're going to be coming out later this year, but you definitely want to check this out. We're going to put all this stuff in the links down below if you have any questions. But with no further ado, let's take a look at the lesson that I did with Chris Walkey. Guys, if you guys have any questions, I'm here with Chris Walkey today, hanging out here in our backyard in his house. We're just kind of taking questions here from everybody. Today is going to be a lot more mechanic based, sort of more in our wheelhouses and stuff like that in terms of different sequencing patterns and anything you got any questions about. Chris is a wealth of knowledge. He teaches out of the Palms Country Club out in, is that Palms or is it Palm Desert?
It's La Quinta, Palms Golf Club, La Quinta.
Yeah, that's right. The Palms Golf Club in La Quinta there. It's one of the best courses in the desert out there, bar none. And one of the best courses with one of the best teachers, and we're lucky to have him here hanging out with us on Instagram Live. So thanks again for coming out. Appreciate it. Or hanging out.
Thanks for having me. This is cool.
Yeah.
My first time.
Yeah, is it your first time?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a bunch of people in here. They're going to start rolling in here as we go along. And like I said, all you new people coming in here, this is a total open forum. Please feel free to ask any questions. Chris and I are here to answer them with our best knowledge. So
my brain's been dead for about 2 weeks, so it might take me time to warm up.
Exactly. Hey, Michael Manavian's checking in here. Mike's a great teacher back east. Mike, I'd like to have you on here as well. He's really big into the gears. He's kind of one of the top guys right now doing all that gears work, Chris. So welcome, Michael. So why don't we get into we kind of wanted to start off with some drills that Chris likes to work on.
Yeah, I know the thing is, over the years, I've really simplified my drills. I've kind of boiled down to a certain amount, because I think students can get too complicated, get too many drills going home, especially drills when you're working on them and you're putting sticks in the ground and you try to tell them how to take that home. Well, they can't get it right, and they end up doing more damage than they could if they did it correctly. So
right.
I'm trying to simplify. Then my drills, I'm trying to really incorporate them into things that they can actually do on the golf course as almost a pre-shot thing. So it'll make it easy for it to translate to the golf course and what they're working on the driving range.
Why do you feel that's so important to be able to take a drill that you can take on the golf course and not just something that you do on the range?
Well, I think you do have your, I like to have my students practice indoors, almost get their technical stuff done indoors before they actually go to the range and start practicing. And then they can get to the outcome oriented on the driving range versus getting their technical stuff done there. They can do some technical stuff there, but a lot of it needs to be their outcome after they get out there. So then they need something to get them from the driving range onto the golf course. So they have one simple swing where it's a full motion drill. They can incorporate that into the routine.
I love how you said that, you're taking that drill and making it into full motion.
Right.
Why don't we get started here? Why don't we talk about, let's talk about some sort of sequencing drill for from P1 at setup, right, all the way up to the top of the swing. Do you have any that you really like?
Yeah, for sure. Quite a few of them. But
cool. We're here for a while.
One good one is one of my favorite drills that actually helps hand path. Getting the body to turn and getting almost the wrist in the right spot going back is what I like to call the backhanded drill. We put the right hand underneath the left.
Okay.
And I'm really not that big into anything that goes from P1 to P2.
Okay.
Because I find, when you try to get from P1 to P2, try to get to this point here, well, it's kind of a stagnant position and it's pretty easy to get the golf club going behind you, which is almost a death move. So, I can take this drill, right-handed and left drill, get the start almost to 1.5, and from here I can actually take my right hand off and sling up to the top. And I can actually make a full swing doing that, or I can take it halfway back, get the golf club in balance. That you can see my right hand is pushed away and backed up, so it's in the right wrist condition. And then from here, I put my right hand on top and complete to the top. So, and then you can actually do this drill, without the golf club in your hands. Start back, going to the top. You can see you create the proper shoulder plane there, and then get that depth in your backswing. And actually start to unwind and get all the way to the finish, and kind of mirror image over here. So it kind of gets you back and through the right lines.
I like that. I like that. Now, you mentioned something there about the club being in balance there, and roughly around, let's just say 2.5, almost a 3 there, or about almost a 3.
That's 3. That's 3 right there.
Yeah, there's 3. Okay, cool. Now,
so at that point there, the hands are in the center of my chest here. That shaft definitely needs to be above that right elbow. I never like to see that club get below the right elbow. So there, then you can just complete your coil to the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would the student feel if, like at 3 there, that it got a little too flat? What would they feel in that drill?
With this drill, it'd start to feel pretty heavy, like the mass is sitting too far off to the right, for sure.
Yeah. I think that's an important piece. So that's the kind of one of those drills that, for lack of a better term,
incorporate that to the golf course if you wanted to. Easy.
What's that?
You could incorporate that to the golf course pretty easily.
Yeah. But it's sort of a great drill in the sense that, like, when it's wrong. There's instant feedback, wouldn't you say?
Right. Sure. Definitely.
And that's something you would feel that, like, any drill that you're ever going to work on, that you understand when you do it wrong and right, and that's what kind of makes a great drill.
100%. You got it.
I got you. I like that. Now, what about, let's say, if we're getting up to the top there, to P4, and then in transition now, what kind of drills do you like to do when it comes to that? Transition from the top.
That's a tough one because I always feel that's kind of, there's no real top of the backswing. It's all one fluid motion, right? So,
yeah.
You can sit at home and you can put this, something to butt into the club, start to see kind of start to flatten down or shallow. I like to see a little bit of weight transfer there as you're starting down. But, I think it's one flowing motion. You got 1 to 4, but it all kind of blends together from the top.
Yeah, I got you. So how do you incorporate, what are some drills that you like doing the entire swing that you like to use with your players?
Yeah, I think one good one is to keep some flow. I love starting forward, getting all in motion back and through, so you keep some momentum, so you don't get stagnant as you're standing over it. Even swing. What I like to do is on the golf course, have the guys kind of feel, what they're trying to work on in their golf swing. Let's say they tend to early turn, get the club wrapped around and behind them. They can actually take a practice swing pretty simply with the left foot pulled back. Get the golf club swinging up and in front of them, and then it allows them really to swing to the left coming through, so that helps them unwind through it versus getting kind of stuck underneath it. So
I like that.
Blending that all together, but just
like
sticking something flow together.
A little play that I do on that. How you said you like swinging it forward to back, right? So throw it forward to back. I actually like them even starting in a finish position, sort of.
Right, for sure.
So I'll get them here, start it there, just to have some sort of idea where to end up, right? So then they go swing it back and actually try to finish where they started, and then and then I'll start building it out where they can go to their finish. And a lot of times, we get students and stuff like that, they just don't know where to finish, right? So I'll put them in a finish and then go ahead and tell them to go swing back and then go into that finish as well.
Definitely, for sure.
So, anybody have any questions so far there? Let's see here. All right, so I wanted to go into also with you. What do you feel like when it comes with like pressure, or how much grip tension do you like on the grip and stuff like that? What are some preferences you have and why?
Yeah, it's pretty medium pressure. I really don't think if you grip it too hard, as long as your wrists are kind of soft and oily and
Yeah.
relax your form. Actually, I don't think you grip it too hard.
Yeah.
I think you too light, but a medium grip pressure. But I don't think tight's that bad, especially if you're trying to pick some speed.
Yeah, I gotcha. And then what do you feel about like tension, say, in the body? Is it okay to have some tension in some spots, or maybe particularly the core or something like that engaged, or?
Yeah, I think your quads. I think you feel a little tension in your quads, a little bit in your core, kind of keep it a little bit tight. I think your shoulders and your arms have to be pretty relaxed. To keep some flow working.
Yeah, I gotcha. And then what do you have for in terms of say some drills for posture setup? What do you like to do?
That's another tricky one, but basically, you stand, a little bit of knee flex. I think the big thing is incorporating this into your routine on the golf course as well. As people have a hard time figuring out how far they are from the golf ball. But if you drop your arms down to your stomach, then you can totally bend from there and create the proper distance to the golf ball, and basically set up around that.
So elbows sort of like touching the body up top.
Yeah, down here, touching your stomach there, and then you just bend over. You got it.
Bend from the pelvis.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of see that one get jacked up pretty good.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of people, what they'll do is, guys, especially there's some teachers in here, stuff like that. We'll find our students a lot of times when they're trying to get the club to the ground, they bend from their upper back more than anything else, or what they'll do.
You got to bend from the waist.
Yeah, or you probably see this one too, right, Chris? Where they'll get set up and then they got the arms hanging down, the elbows sort of on the belly there, and then they'll get to the ground by like flexing their knees too much.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I think that's always a big one. Here's a Alistair Watt. Hi, Chris. What do you like to see in regards to head movement during the swing? Thank you. Great question.
I don't like to see a whole lot of head movement up or down. Pretty much staying very centered. As you wind back there, your head's staying pretty centered. You create some extension in your spine here, and then you got plenty of room to start back down. So, but there's not a whole lot of swaying back and forth. You could have a little bit, but there's not a ton.
Yeah. Can you do that again, what you just did there? And I wanted to kind of point out there. If you guys take a look at the bill of his cap, it's set up versus the top. There's actually a tilt in his head there. And I think that's something that for
this one?
hang on. Yeah, hang on. Your right ear is higher than your left, but on the video here it looks like your left ear is higher than right because it's switched around. For a right-handed golfer, yeah,
so the eye line shifted or the head shifted swivel to the right.
Yeah. That's a big thing there, guys, for like trying to create more extension is actually tilting your neck the opposite way of the turn. That helps with extending there and lengthening out your backswing. If your neck is tilting the same way as your turn, so on the video camera here, it looks like I'm turning right or left and I'm tilting my head the same way. You're going to limit your range of motion of your extension in the backswing. So
you're right. The head should swivel. The meridian is going to go over this way and over back that way as you're going back and through.
Yeah, I think people, they get caught up in the thought sometimes, right, Chris, where they're like trying to keep their head still and everything, nothing else is moving.
Uh-huh.
So, what kind of drills do you have for, like, say, a pivot in the backswing? What do you like?
My favorite one is a punching drill, because I think
a punching drill.
Yeah, so you basically take your setup, create two fists, and then you punch to the ground with the left and pull up with the right if you're right-handed this way. But if you want to create more extension, you punch farther this direction. The right one pulls back more behind.
I like that.
There, right? And the same thing coming down is the more you punch this direction, the more this pulls back and you create your extension back and through. If you want to create more flexion, you're punching more straight down this way and then straight down that way. So I think it's a huge pivot drill.
Can you do that one more time and just angle your camera? Just can't angle your camera down a little bit more so we can see this. That's a really good one there. This one I'm stealing, so maybe a little more down, a little more tilted down.
You got it.
Even Mikey likes it. Yeah, or back up. There you go. Perfect.
So as you go back, you're punching down at the ground, but like I said, the more extension you want to create, you're punching farther away from the target. Right arm's pulling more back, and that's creating extension back, right? Like I said, if you want to create some more flexion, you're pushing more down towards your left toe, pulling up here, creating your flexion here.
Okay.
And then
So
the
whatever
same
your
thing
choice.
if I'm going to punch farther that way, I'm creating my extension backwards this way. And vice versa. There. It's a great drill. It's a huge drill.
Oh, I like that one. I've got one also here. I'm here. I'm just grabbing my band. I've gotten these bands, and I've kind of really gone into these things. I got them through UPowX, whatever that is. I don't know. They're like massive freaking. They're gym bands. They're all these things that I don't do, right? But I use it for golf. So a little bit what you're talking about there. Hopefully, I can get this in there. I'll take this for the backswing, and I'll put it under. I'm a right-handed golfer. I know that it looks kind of weird here because we're flipped around, but I put it under my left foot, and then I put it over my right shoulder, and then I kind of grab the bands here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to retract my right shoulder, and I'm pulling against this band. I'm trying to stretch this band as much as I can. If I didn't turn, tilt, and extend on my backswing, I wouldn't stretch this very much.
Right.
So I'm trying to stretch this thing going back as much as I can, trying to pull my right shoulder away, up and back, away from the left foot.
So can you do that with the drill I just showed you? Try that.
Yeah. Let's see.
See what happens. See if you feel anything.
Yeah, same thing.
There
Same
you go.
thing. Obviously, I wouldn't scare anybody in a fight, but I definitely feel that. Yeah. And the cool, so like what you did there, also same thing with this, you would just flip it around, right foot, left shoulder, and it'd be the same thing as I go through this way with this band. I like to feel the sensation that the left shoulder is trying to move away from the right foot always as I'm coming down and through if I was focusing on something.
Everything's getting longer, right?
Yeah. From the left shoulder to right foot, they got to get longer.
100%.
You know, we see this where they're trying to stay down or something like this, and that left shoulder to the right foot's not getting farther away.
Right.
It's not stretching. So, let's see here. That was really good. Mikey says, anything you can inflict pain. Yeah. You like your punching deal. How about head movement post-impact, i.e. keep your head down? What's your thoughts on that?
Keeping the head down?
What's that?
You say keeping the head down?
Yeah, well, example is some people keep their head down. Some people might kind of rotate. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's got to rotate with your. I think once you keep your head down too long, it stops the rotation of your body, creates more kind of extra release to the golf club. Okay, so
Yeah.
I mean, I think once you're about ready to hit it, your eyes and everything's following right down the target line, allowing your body to unwind.
Yeah, I'd always kind of tell people like, hey, you just follow the ball flight. You know what I mean? Like you can't follow it very, very well from down there for too long. For too long. So what other are there any other, I know we were on the backswing pivot there drill. You have any others that you like to do?
What, the backswing? Yeah, I love the
Yeah.
backswings. I think another great drill that you can use indoors, on the driving range. One of my favorite drills of all time is probably split hands. Separating your hands this far apart. It's almost like having a hockey stick. And I actually got a hockey stick here, but separating your hands really helps you get that first kind of the 1.5 to the right spot. Right? Like I said, then the reason I don't like P2 is I think it's a great position for video, but I think it's a flow through position. I think if you're trying to focus on P2, you run out of time. You don't have enough speed to get through it to get to P3. So the split hand drill, if you're going, like 1.5, now your club starts to work up, more vertical, and working horizontally almost at the same time. That gets you to P3. Okay.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
How many people do you work with? Everybody's got the golf club going ripping around the corner. The face is open, wrapped around the corner. I mean, it's almost everybody, right?
Make a living.
Yeah, so I mean, that's why I call, certain drills I like to do, they got split hands, and from there you can wind to the top. What I've done with this drill is, I've expanded, you can make a full swing out of it, because now slide this right hand up, make your transition, and that unwinds you right back to impact. So you get your extension here, you're loaded in impact, and you're unwound through it. So you can use that drill almost all the way through the whole swing. Makes it very easy.
I just want to mark at this point in the video that was a nugget, people. All right, so you might want to remember that one.
So some of these drills, this is a a start drill, right? Then it becomes P3 drill. Now it becomes P4, P5, P6, P7. You probably unwind all the way to the finish.
Yeah.
Great. You can do. I do that on the golf course when I'm playing because I get the golf club wrapped around behind me or kind of sucked in low. I kind of over deviate underneath myself. Then I get all out of whack. So, but a great drill.
Thanks. I'm stealing that one. I appreciate that one. Thank you.
All those drills kind of really, what they do though is they really help you with your hand playing, getting organized with your pivot motion, so everything doesn't get too separated.
I think everybody has, as obviously we're in Quarantine Golf Academy here, and everybody's kind of at home right now. That's the big one right there, guys. That Chris just shared with us. I think we could all do that, and that's something that. These drills, I'd say that everything Chris has given and whatever I've given you guys so far, this is like kale. You can't eat enough kale, right? It's not going to hurt you. These are things that just you can continue to keep doing here over the break that we've got from golf right now. Hey, Chris has got. Let's see it again, Chris. What do you got there?
I got a hockey stick now.
Okay.
Like a slap shot. That's getting up. You can see where that's pointing there, winding up. What I like about the hockey stick is you can really see kind of the angle of the face coming down.
Yeah.
It's starting to tip. And, one of my big things is, looking on video is almost like the holy grail is, hey, where is that club coming at delivery? That's my kind of, I watch, see what the ball is doing, how the ball is flying, but, where's the face at delivery? What direction is it coming from? Is, out here, is it shut? Is it out there open here? That's going to kind of tell me the whole story. And then P6 to P7, where you are at impact, and where are you at P8 is going to tell me what's going on and how I'm going to go ahead and try to fix this golf swing. I might be fixing the start to fix that, but my whole goal is, hey, I got to get this golf club in the right spot. So, because all the guys on tour, a lot of these days all swing kind of cookie cutter, right?
Yeah.
But you look at a good player, they're pretty similar at this point. You won't see too many guys with the face kind of wide open at this point, right? And that's what, day in and day out, that's what you see on the driving range. A lot of your students, your students are all great players, though, so they probably don't do that. But
no, they do.
That delivery position is huge to tell the story.
How many? This is a teacher question from my book here. I want to ask you. Say you're saying the story's being told at 6. I agree. In terms of the club face, how many P's are you going to go back to see where, you know what I mean? Like, do you think it's back a couple of P's where it's like, dude, that's where, why I'm seeing P6 the way it is? It's because back at P4 or at P3.
It could go back to P1.
Yeah. Yeah. Could go all the way back to Agile.
It's a chain reaction of the start to the top. So many people in, across the line, steep, back, under, you know what I'm saying? So, it could start with grip, it could start with the takeaway, it could start with, halfway back, it could be the top, it could be the transition, it could be the weight shift. But that's where I start myself from there to see what's going on, then I work my way backwards to figure out, hey, why is this happening? What can I do to get this golf club in the condition and the face angle and the direction it's swinging to create the ball flight that they want?
Let me ask you this. Do you have any drills for club face?
Yeah, one of them I like is a really simple one. It's just getting, it depends what level you're talking about, right? But understanding, almost just taking half swings put the ball on a tee and just learning to kind of clip it off the tee so you know where the face is square at the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty simple. And I like it with the driver because that's kind of the one that's going to get the most, deviation.
Yeah. I got you. And then what kind of drills do you do and people can do right now? I know not everybody has a net set up and stuff like that, but what kind of drills do you have for controlling the low point? So in layman's terms, it would be like, making sure you hit ball, then turf. What kind of drills do you have for that?
Well, a simple one is what you can do on the golf course is just, take your setup inside the golf ball and make sure you're hitting, target side of the golf ball, right?
Yeah.
And seeing where your divot's at, if it's behind or too far off. That's such a simple drill. I do it on the golf course myself just to find the low point. I think, marking something behind, if you're talking about angle attack or getting up to the ball is just, maybe laying a towel behind the ball. So
yeah.
A couple of, make sure you're getting up to the golf ball and finding that low point.
Yeah. I'll even do with obviously I got a mat out here right now, but
right.
I'll take a piece of duct tape. You know what I mean? Just like the towel, same deal. I just get too lazy bending over and keep having to move it and stuff like that with the towel. But a lot of people, what we can do is just take a piece of duct tape, put it behind the ball, or put it on the mat, and then just put the ball in front of it a couple inches. You can put a golf tee there, but making sure you clear that and being able to hit the ball is a massive deal to good play.
Oh, for sure.
I think we can all agree on this that everybody has different grips and planes and whatever, this and that, but the best players in the world that Chris has worked with, and Chris has worked with a ton of the best players in the world, men and women, they all hit the ball first, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. At the end of the day, it's about hitting the ball first, right? So that's why I talk about, where's the club coming from, P6 to P7, getting the golf club on the golf ball to hit the trajectory you want, the shape you want to hit it, and hitting it solid.
Yeah. What are some other drills that you feel like you kind of use? We had a question in there. Column D4. What if you're cross-handed? How do you fix that? I got an answer for that. What's your answer?
What's my answer?
Yeah.
He's one of the students, so. he started gripping it there when he was a kid, and he won't change it. But
if you hit it good, leave it alone.
He's a good player, man.
Yeah, leave it alone.
Hey, so that brings me to a good point is, people that tend to get, too in early, get the golf club too vertical this way, right?
Yeah.
Grip it cross-handed.
Yeah.
That's going to get that left hand working and rotating out over there. So that's going to get the left wrist flat, this one bent there. So that's going to get you in a great position. And the funny thing is, I worked with Lanny Watkins years ago when he's on the senior tour and kind of getting him ready for the senior tour. And I give him this drill, that drill, whatever. Even Lanny going to shake his head. And just well, I did give him the split-handed drill because he was really deep and dragging and kind of vertical. Well, all of a sudden I went out one day, he's on the golf course, and he's swinging cross-handed. So at least one drill I gave him he actually stuck with.
You give him enough, one of them will stick, right? I think to that point, also to that drill, I've used that drill as well. Not only does it set you on plane, it also gets the trail elbow on perfect position as well. Yeah. Right?
And it gets it much more in front, creates your extension of the right wrist, it puts you in a great position. Yeah.
What you were doing there as you were cross-handed there, left hand low for us right-handed golfers, and I know again on the video here it's going to show up backwards, but trust us, we're right-handed golfers. I choke up on it a little bit and maybe 10-finger grip it, and I choke up a little bit, get up to the top, and then go ahead and replace the lead hand, the left hand there. And it just cleans up the backswing really quick. If I go like this, it just doesn't match up. It just makes my right arm want to fold up properly on the plane every time. So that's a great drill that you gave there, and kind of one that I should probably do more often. So let's see here.
What else do we got?
Callan does that girl. John Ortega said, Ortega, here to crash another party. That's Keith Morgan. Eric Wang's joined in all the way from Canada. Hey, Eric, if you got any questions, we're going over drills, Eric, and any drills that you might, or section of the swing that you kind of want some sort of drill for. What kind of short game drills do you have? Let's say chipping. We'll start with chipping.
Yeah, just, your kind of stock stuff. The simple one, just, the shaft up the left side there. That's, a lot for, your beginner golfers and, just getting some forward shaft lean, get some angle with that.
I'd be remiss if I didn't get to ask you.
Uh-huh. Can you chip with that? You can chip with that.
And you can chip with this, but how else do you like to use this where, and I'm probably leaning towards, I'm trying to do the one-arm bandit, but maybe you can speak about...
Bunker shots, flop shots, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, just by shifting it around, right?
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, I'm going to flip this around for one sec. All right, this is the power package. Chris, you the inventor of it, or?
Yeah, I'm the inventor, yes.
Yeah, he invented this thing. I use this thing daily, power package, golf.com. There's a bunch of us teachers using this thing, super versatile. I would, if you haven't got one, you definitely should look into it and look into getting one.
Yeah, I don't have a sandwich here where we can go. I got an 8-iron. So what, are you talking about bunker shots and what to do with it, or what?
Yeah, talk about it. Like, how do you use it?
Yeah, I mean, what's the issue with people in the bunkers? They have a difficult time keeping the loft on the golf club, right? You agree with that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if they set with the face open or whatever they're trying to do, as they go back, they tend to kind of goof up the face. So if you take the power package, shift it to the left, so now it's square, your grip of the face is open. As you go back, you can get that, if you form to get your wrist set properly and get the face open, and then kind of maintain that coming through and keep the loft on the club on the other side.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things you can do with flop shots, the same thing, right?
Turn it more.
You've done some videos on this,
Yep.
the face open there,
Yep.
rotating through, maintaining the cuts.
Yeah.
Chipping the same thing, right? Depends what you're trying to do. I think, I have a tendency I've got way too much forward shaft in my whole game, right? So I would use the power package actually trying to stay out of the cups coming through. So, I mean, I'd have a tendency to drag, forward shaft lean it, keep my right form in that cup. So I'll tend to get where I release it out of the cups. So you can use it in terms of not even, just keeping your forms in line with the cups to create the body you're trying to, for the bottom of your arc.
Yeah, I love that. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of this thing. I bought mine and stuff like that. They're phenomenal. All right. They're very useful, and I've talked about it before. I don't use many training aids, but the ones that I do, it's the reason I use it is because daily I see results from it. So there was
we got the putties coming out soon, so you gotta look out for that.
Yeah, as soon as we get over this virus thing, right? There's a phenomenal putting training aid that he, of course, cleverly designed, and I'd say also it's just great for its use of teachers and stuff like that. There it is right there. That thing's pretty money right there. I'm already seeing quick results with it. So lucky that I have one of those myself. A few drills for trail elbow in transition. What do you got? And I got one too.
Trail elbow in the transition.
Yeah.
I think I got through some of those. I still like split hands, getting in that direction, because that gets that right arm pushing. Especially if you're a hitter, it's going that direction, right? So get your left arm getting down and forward.
Okay, I like that. So split hand, kind of doing the hockey stick feel.
For sure.
I like that. Okay. One of them that I like to do, and I think this is huge for just training purposes right now, is I'll have the club up like this, and I'll start just with my right hand only. I know it's left hand on the video again, but I want to get this thing to drop first. So what this is training me to do right now is getting the elbow internal while the shoulder goes external. Yeah. So what is that in the golf swing? That's this, right? Being able to do this. Most people, what they'll do is when they start coming down, especially the over the toppers, they start working the opposite way. So now that looks like this coming down, right? So I'll get them to start doing this. Then I'll start putting two hands on it, right? Always working on that club falling and letting my index finger catch it, right? My right index finger's catching the fall, right? And then I'll have them start going with a pivot to get that same feel, to get that thing shallowing, the trail elbow working properly.
Yeah, I got confused. I thought you said lead arm. I got confused about that one. So.
Yeah. That was all trail arm there. Right-handed, that's my right hand, right arm for the right-handed golfer. Okay? So that's a drill that I like to do to train trail elbow motion, right? Doing this. Moving it in that motion there. So that's a big one that I like to work on. Love that. Why is Pernice using the right cup only? I'm going to let you answer that. Did he break it, Michael Madigan?
No, I think he wanted to focus on what I don't know the story yet. I think he just wanted to feel what the right one felt like, and he liked the feeling of it. So he's working with it for a long time. So, but I don't know the whole story on that. We'll have to talk to Tony about that. Tony's got the answers.
Right. My guess is also is like he's probably just maybe feeling more flying wedge. You know, I think that I use that right cup all the time just with teaching people that, you know. I think it's a really phenomenal wave. Also, it also helps shallow. Definitely. So
it's built more around structure, you know, creating structure in the arms. You know, as you take that one off, you can actually start to feel like what you were just showing there, the external rotation this way, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the only way to get in the cup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Oscar asks, please discuss teaching and developing beginner teenage girls. What do you got on that?
I don't teach a whole lot of teenage girls to begin with. You answer that. You're the one teaching all the teenage junior girls.
Right. You know, developing them in terms of players, I think we got to start out with I know this might sound a little silly, but it was a nugget that Chichi gave me years ago when Chichi Rodriguez, guy used to caddy for and played senior tour, we all know him. And he said when he would work with any women, he would always start with them the first 5 days. No golf ball, just take divots. Because of wrist strength, but the fear that that people have. And I even take it to the next level, like any developing golfer, right? Like getting them to hit the ground first and then using a line and then getting them to hit the line. That's how I would start with them.
Well, that's huge because, I mean, especially with the beginners and the beginning junior golfers is, you know, where is the ball? You know, they hit over the place, you know what I mean? As soon as they can find that bottom point or even find the ground, they got a chance, right? Even just sticking a tee in the ground, you know, just this high off the ground, the old Harvey Pennant thing, right? And just keep clipping that tee so you find some uniform spot.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think those are things that you would definitely want to start with developing beginner teenage girls. The other thing I would say is this: get them in a group environment, a social environment. I think there's a big benefit actually to, especially in the teenagers beginning, putting them, especially the girls, in a group environment with other girls. I've seen that. Dan Martin's in here. I know Dan did that a lot in the past, and I know he's been very successful at that. Just having them in a comfortable learning environment. That's something that we have to realize is that the environment that we have students in, they have to be comfortable enough to be able to learn anything in that environment. If they're
in an environment where possibly I've had it, or I've done with my junior academy where there's only one girl. They're just not that comfortable if they're around, 5 other boys or something like that. So trying to group them together is big.
But I think the grouping in this social environment is huge for them, so they can have fun and start to enjoy the game. If they're taking individual lessons from you, they don't connect quite as well with the game. Does that make sense? I mean, one of the reasons I started playing golf, what I loved about golf was, I loved the game, but just being around the guys, going to the country club, playing golf all summer long, as soon as the summer ended, I didn't play golf for the next 9 months because you go to the golf course, there's no one there. It wasn't fun. Yeah. So the group environment's huge, for sure.
Yeah. That's what we've done with our California Junior Golf Academy, Dan and I. There is a thing to the social learning. And I think group lessons has gotten such a bad name. And it hasn't. I think some of it's been deserved because just the teaching's been so poor. But there's a huge advantage to a social learning environment. I know Dan shared me a lot of the studies, about, with our kids, they all have a worksheet for the day, and they've got to complete these tasks. They get to do it amongst friends. And with the developing junior golf group, the first thing that you have to do with any junior golfer, any beginner golfer, it doesn't even matter if it's junior, but I emphasize juniors here, is that they have to fall in love with the game. They got to be stoked on the game. They got to want to be part of the game. If we can't get them to do that from the very beginning where they fall in love with it, I don't care how good a teacher you are and know every single position, they're not going to get good at the game. Every person in this group here that's watching us today, I guarantee you we all love the game, and we found our passion with the game. That's why we're here listening to this right now. Michael Navian says, labeling group lessons as supervised practice I found to be successful. That's a great way to put it. I'd love to do that. I'll steal that one from you, Mikey. Thank you. Dan Martin, for competitive players, there's nothing better than having a like-minded group of peers to help you get better. Absolutely. When you get in an environment, and you see it, do you see that even with a bunch of the tour pros that you've worked with? Do you see them wanting to like they probably play a lot of practice rounds together and play money games and things like that just to stay competitive? Or
sure they do. Yeah, they're always playing money games. Yeah, for sure. The camaraderie is pretty great. It's amazing how out on tour how much those guys. I mean, they're helping each other. You know what I mean? They're actually, if a guy's not playing well, they're concerned about it. It's pretty cool.
And that's the greatest thing about our game. That's just, you don't see that really in any. I mean, I don't see like MJ going up to some other basketball player and go, "Hey, dude, you know what, dude, your shot's a little bit." I think he's telling you, "You're doing great."
The thing is, it can be. It's cool that they're concerned and they want to help, but sometimes it's almost a detriment that they get too many people trying to tell them, "Hey, try this." It almost makes it worse at times.
Yeah, too many chefs
involved in there.
Yeah, too many chefs. Hey, let me ask you this: you've worked with so many great players on the LPGA and the PGA. How do they differ from the mini tour guy, or the people that are just below? Just the people.
Obviously, at some point in their development, they gain the right confidence, right? Or their self-belief. You got a lot of them that were overachievers. You got so many kids that had so much talent, but maybe deep down inside they really didn't believe, right? You can take someone that's an overachiever that can really almost bypass it. But there's people that have, ultimate confidence in themselves, I believe.
Who were some of the ultimate confidence people that you worked with?
Oh, geez, most of them, right?
Yeah.
David Frost, Stockton Jr. Another one I won't mention his name right now because the world hates him.
Does it start with a P?
At least the teachers hate him right now, so I won't say another word about
that. Okay, I got it. Too soon.
Huh?
Too soon.
That's right.
But, so, I mean, is that like a common trait that you would see
I like to see what some commonalities are of, you know, the best players in the world, especially teachers like yourself.
Let me ask you this. I mean, in order to do what they're doing, they have to be pretty selfish, right?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
You know, they come first, you know, and obviously they're whoever they marry is very supportive. Otherwise, it doesn't work. You know, they look at Barbara Nicholas. Jack wouldn't be Jack without Barbara. You know what I mean? I don't think he would. He had a great support system. Arnie had a great support system. Most of them have a great support system. You know. So.
That's pretty key. Let me ask you this: what's the difference? And I just love being able to ask you because you've worked with so many players from both PGA and LPGA and Korn Ferry Tour and stuff like that. What's the difference you see between the men and the women when it comes to short game?
God, they're all pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're all great. You know, what's the difference? Maybe spin. The guys probably spin it more or know how to spin it. Yeah.
A little
Agree
more.
with that?
Yeah. Yeah. You think that comes from forearm strength? I kind of think it comes there.
Obviously, you got to have a little more, you know, to kind of get it, you know, checked in. So the girls have unbelievable touch. I mean, so.
Yeah.
Do you think the women putt better or the men putt better?
I think the men putt better.
Yeah? Why is that?
Because they putt on better greens week in and week out. Just saying the facts. What do you think?
I agree with you,
Yeah.
But the girls are good too, you know.
No, they're awesome too. They're
everybody out there is amazing. You know.
Yeah. None of them. Yeah, you can't. There's no freebies in golf this day and age. You know what I mean? Where like, yeah, you kind of suck, but you're out. Yeah, it's just even on the mini tour level, man. They're all sticks. They can all tee it up and rip it up.
So what do you think about impact? I mean, you know, what do you do for drills for impact? What do you got?
Yeah, drills for impact. You know, like I said, one of those that I like to do is let me switch it around here. Let me switch it around here and get going here. All right. You know, in the machine, it would be called impact fix. So one of my kind of go-to impact drills is to get set up in impact already. So with my tilts, turns, extensions, and I'll start at impact there. And I carry impact back, and I carry impact through. And that's it. I just basically take all the other BS away and just there's impact, and I carry it along. You know, so I try to simplify it as much as I can.
I like that because it's full motion, you know, hitting, you know, P6 to P, you know, 9, whatever you're trying to do, it's all one motion.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I'm always a big fan of that. You know, so what about you?
Well, you know, I think people get in trouble. Let me get my bag here. You know, the impact bag's been around forever. I'm not saying anything bad about the impact bag, but I think a very accomplished player can use it. They know how to use their pivot properly. You know, sustain the line. Sustain the lag and go up and pop the bag, right?
Yeah.
So you get your higher handicap or whatever, they still can throw it, right?
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
You throw the head in the back of the bag. You're not really walloping any pressure. You know, whereas I think if you took a staff bag or anything like a wall, you know.
Can you lower your camera there, Chris, real quick?
So they can see it.
I want to see it too more than anybody.
Oh my bag.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
There we go.
You know, getting stuff. So I think it's more important that you're almost smashing the top part of the shaft or using the whole golf club. You know, this way, if you're going to actually hit it, I'd rather see you hit it where the top part hits, but you can actually start to, you know, really get that feel that way. You're using the whole shaft, just not the bottom of the club head.
Amen.
I actually go more this way than I do, you know, using an impact bag. Not saying anything bad about the impact bag, but it's, you know, this is a lot simpler, more, you know, effective, I think.
All right, let me grab something else. To that point that you were talking about, this is where I get into my Ghetto golf drills and tips. So I got a cooler here. All I need is a flat side, like what you were doing there.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Definitely 100%. I use anything I can find to get the point across.
Exactly. What I like to do also with that drill is imagining that I've got the ball, Chris, like say 4 inches behind the cooler here. The cooler's lined up right on my left hip, like the center of my left hip. So I work that, I get the whole shaft on there, but making sure that like my hands are in front of my left hip, my left shoulder, my hands are in front of my left hip. I like to get that alignment, you know what I mean, just to get a feel of getting the whole shaft on there.
So you like to get the alignment and get the pressure against it, and then kind of push the pressure against it, right?
100%. Yep. Absolutely. I think that's a big thing, you know, aside from what Chris showed there was great. Just if we were getting into a little more detail, that's kind of one of the things I might look at, just to train it, you know what I mean? If I'm already training it, might as well train it to the fullest extent. So, but I am a big believer also that, like, you know, that's like a position you can't just magically, you know what I mean? That's like, you got to do a lot of good things to get to that spot also before that. You know, we can't just fake it. Jimmy says, how would you evaluate and help a mini tour player reach PGA Tour? Take a shot at that, bro.
What was the question?
How would you evaluate and help a mini tour player reach the PGA Tour?
Oh, that's a good one. Obviously, you have to sit down and, you know, see where they came from, you know, what their weaknesses are, you know, and start to hit those weaknesses and have a game plan. But I mean, a lot of that is, you know, do they have the financial backing? You know, there's no point in going that direction because it's going to take a whole lot of funding, you know, and otherwise they just start bouncing around. So, I mean, you know, I've got guys that are good players that I told them actually just to stay amateur until they get to a certain level. I mean, you know, if you can't go out and win, you know, your city amateur championship or your U.S. amateur championship, you know, you've got to get pretty high level amateur status before you start to move on, or you had a great college career. You know, I'd look at where they came from, where do they want to get to, or what's the plan to get them to that point by evaluating, you know, their chipping, fighting their whole game, what's going on, and set the plan together, and then figure out how you're going to move forward. But, you know, I still think you've got to have that funding, otherwise you're just wasting your time.
Amen.
You got to have like a 3-year deal. You got to have some time. You can't just rush into the thing. Otherwise, you're searching for money. They've got to work. They can't give it the proper amount of time.
I mean, I'd say that.
I don't know if you agree with that. There's a starting point there. It's kind of a little bit of a vague question, you know. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to be committed first to. You're going to be looking at spending $70,000 a year if you're going to try to do it. Even that's like on the cheap. Number one. Number two, I would say the college players that I've worked with that are looking to turn pro. I tell them all this. I go, don't turn pro until you're actually playing really well, then turn pro.
Right.
Don't turn pro. Don't turn pro thinking it's going to answer anything, right? Like
there's so many guys that know they turn pro, and then it costs so much money to play the tournaments. I mean, you know, they can't make any money.
Yeah.
You know, they're ready to be out there actually, and they just spin in their wheels. So.
Yeah. Turn pro when you are actually like you're playing good.
100%.
Don't do it anytime sooner. So that'd be my.
Well, the great thing is you can go to tour school being an amateur still. You know.
Yeah.
You can see how you catch it up.
Yeah, that's true, right? Thanks for that question, Jimmy. Appreciate that. Michael Manavin, Chris, who were your early influences in coaching? I say this because you've always come across to knowing your stuff. I want to know that as well.
Oh, my influences?
Yeah.
Well, I started with Dutch Harrison. I don't know if you remember who Dutch Harrison was, right? Back in the 50s, he played with Hogan. He was a great player. He was in my club in St. Louis. I moved to Carmel when I was 14. And Ben Doyle was at my club. But at the time I was 14 years old, I thought he was a little off the charts, right?
In St. Louis? Ben Doyle was in your
club? This is when I moved to Carmel.
Oh, okay.
I moved to Carmel when I was 14.
Okay.
But I was a huge fan of Johnny Miller. I posted some stuff about Johnny because I love Johnny, right? I love Nicholas. And so when his teacher was at Monterey Peninsula Country Club, so I went to start to work with him, and that's kind of where some of this set, the club being set halfway back started way back then, in my belief in some of the things I do now with him, and then I spent a lot of time around Ben Doyle, for 10 years or so, picking his brain, learning that stuff. Spent some time around Chuck Cook. My first teaching gig was with Chuck. His influence, I went and taught in South America under his influence. And when I was playing, when I turned professional, I worked. I used to take lessons from Mitchell Spearman. And then,
from back then.
Mitchell was with Lead, and then when I got back after teaching South America, I went and hooked up and I worked for Lead for a while. And then I taught out of McLean's place. But I've been around a lot of good teachers, picked up a lot of stuff.
Hey, did you ever know Dennis Sheehy?
I know Dennis, yeah.
Yeah, he was my coach.
Is he still in San Diego? Where's he at now?
I think he's still down in San Diego. I haven't talked to him in a while, but yeah, I worked with him.
But he was looking before me. He was one of the original three guys.
Yeah.
Mitchell, Simon Holmes, and Dennis. They were the kind of the original three, and then it started expanding. Then it kind of moved into us guys.
Okay.
Brian Wilson. We were the next phase. Gary Gilchrist, Robert Baker. Yeah.
I remember when Dennis told me, he goes, when I was still working with him back in the day, when I was still playing, he goes, if I die, you go to Mitchell, okay? I was like, all right, cool. Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that.
Who are your influences? Who are your influences?
My early influences, I worked with Eddie Marins for about 5 years, from when I was about 14 to 19.
Swing the handle.
Yeah, over your right hip, over your left hip, right? That was my playing. And then I worked with Bobby Laskin a little bit. And then after that, when I was already playing professional for a couple of years and wasn't working with anybody, just kind of doing it on my own. Did okay early, and then I started working with Craig Chapman. Worked with Chappie for about a year and a half. And then I worked with Dennis towards I finished off when I quit playing. I worked with Dennis for a couple of years. So that was my playing influences. My teaching influences have come from Greg McCatton, Mac O'Grady, Mike Bennett, Andy Plummer, and I don't know. Then Scott House. As of late, he's been real great. Scott Hamilton's been real nice to me, and I'm sure I'm leaving some people out. Michael Manavian, who's on here, I picked his brain a lot.
What's pretty cool. What's pretty cool though is our backgrounds come from kind of different. Some of them are similar.
Yeah.
And I watch. We talked about this before. I mean, watching your stuff, how similar. How we think, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
From kind of different routes, but we end up in almost in the same spot. Because I watch you, it's like I said, it's like watching some of the stuff you say is like watching myself. So I like what you do, man. Really.
I really do appreciate it. I mean,
do a great job at what you do.
I appreciate. I'm always looking at the teachers that have already done it in the past, and it's history. Success leaves clues, right? And you just look for the guys that have been successful teaching, and you just kind of follow them, and just I learn more when I'm quiet. So it's been a lot of fun. I love this teaching stuff. It's really cool.
That's me being quiet. You won't see me on my own live Instagram.
And that's why this is so great, guys. We actually got Chris on Instagram Live. This is amazing.
Thanks for watching, everybody, the JRL Golf Academy. Please make sure to link and comment down below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that little bell for notifications. And we look forward to seeing you on the next JRL Golf Academy.